This night their arrival was preceded by a restlessness on my behalf. You will note that throughout my story I have not mentioned any place of contact, for reasons you may well understand, since there are those desirous of domination and oppression. It is neither wise nor the proper time to reveal the whereabouts of any place I have met with the brothers from other planets. Of far greater import is their message of truth, guidance, and friendship. Considering the darkness outside, the light filtering through the windows seemed unreal. I stepped onto the front porch as if drawn there by a magnet, and immediately saw them standing nearby. They accepted my invitation to come in. Among other things, they spoke of our leaders, our people, the Creator, and of nature. The tallest one repeated the following in a rhythmic flow and with profound meaning, every word holding me spellbound, afterwards explaining that it has not been given to anyone on your planet before. It is yours to do with as you wish. Accept thy brothers and sisters from the land. The Creator will give thy hand. Learn thyself from the heart. The Creator will do thy part. You will then know nature and become free. You will know what to do when you come to thee. At first glance, it may seem like simple nonsense, but if you apply reason and logic combined with a bit of concentration, it will disclose worlds of meaning. During the interim, between this contact and the next one, 3 weeks later, I saw quite a little activity in the skies. Also on the 13th and the 18th of the month of November, there was a fall of so-called angel hair floating through the air and clinging to the buildings, trees, and electric power lines. I understand this angel hair as a waste product expelled from the motherships or carriers and produced by a process of mass conversion of positive and negative electrons of the magnetic force field of a primary nature at a time of necessary repair work when an emergency unit of propulsion is in operation. My next physical contact was a startling one. I had been in contact by the inner voice with this brother and sister from Jupiter when I now was privileged to meet in person. I recognized the pleasing tone of his voice at once, but I had not anticipated meeting a woman, especially one with such exquisite beauty as I now beheld. She greeted me warmly as I stood there, amazed and dumbfounded. Her voice was perfectly modulated. We only stopped by for a moment. I wanted to see you. She warned me to be careful in what I believed, to accept only what I knew to be the truth, and to set aside whatever I doubted. If it is truth, it will come to you as such when the time is right. At last, finding I was not completely speechless, I ventured to ask her a question which had been bothering me. There are a lot of different versions of Jesus' life. I would like to know the truth about it. Will you tell me? Her answer was, you have a book. If you will study it, you will learn what you wish to know. On this occasion they did not come in, and the only book I had in my room at this time was the textbook of Ancient Wisdom by M. Doreal, D-O-R-E-A-L. Yet she had, as had the brother of a previous meeting, the uncanny ability of knowing without seeing with material eyes. I had only commenced to read this book, and the next morning I picked it up and involuntarily turned to page 34, on which, at a glance, I found as follows what I desired to know. The true master can enter into the spirit of the things the people around him are doing, regardless of what it might be. He can drink with the drinker, gamble with the gambler, and yet not be touched with the destructive vibration like them. For he knows that only by placing himself on their level can he hope to raise them to his own plane. That is why the Master Jesus was known as a consorter with sinners and publicans. That is why men called him a drunkard and a glutton. He was able to enter any atmosphere without condemnation of the things that were being done. He knew, as all who have come into mastership know, that the only sin is that committed when one who knows refuses to give the true seeker the knowledge of how to reach the goal. Christ consorted with so-called sinners because he knew that only by being with them could he lift them out of their darkness. It was this he meant when he said, "If I be lifted up, all men shall be drawn unto me." This brother's wearing apparel was form-fitting, though permitting freedom of movement, the top, waist length, and similar in style to our flight jackets, although I could detect no buttons or zippers. The Lady of Jupiter wore a fashionable skirt and blouse with a jacket. I caught a glimpse of what appeared to me to be an insignia on her blouse. Indicating they must go, they turned to leave, and I accompanied them a short distance. Then they warmly bid me good-bye, and our sister repeated in soft cadence, "The wind is your anger. The sun is your body. The moon is your heart. A star is your soul." She added, "Study it, my dear brother. It will also be good for your mate." Wife, though not another word was spoken, I knew I must walk no further with them. As they neared a dark object wrapped in the cloak of night, a faint shadow of light showed from it. Moments later it grew brighter, the whole craft glowing blue, then reddish-orange as it lifted. As it arose into the night sky, the color lightened, changing to a bluish shade again. At first it appeared to rise vertically for possibly 1,000 feet, then took off on perhaps a 45-degree angle. At a much greater height it made a circle, then headed eastward, not traveling at a tremendous speed, appearing as a blue-white streak amongst the stars. And there I stood, lost to this world, and wishing with all my heart and soul that I was aboard that swiftly receding ship. Succeeding this meeting, I was contacted clairaudiently, or by the inner voice, and still later complimented with a visit in person from the meddlesome and lovely little Lady of Pluto, the one who had spoken with me at Giant Rock. She is about 5 feet 3 inches tall, and on this occasion wore a blouse, jacket, and slacks in contrasting tones of a beautiful pansy blue, similar to royal blue, and a shade of red wine in a scintillating deep intensity. She was most pleased that I recognized her. It was a pertinent remark she made, and the familiarity of her smooth, mellow voice, which revealed her identity to me. That day at Giant Rock, in order to avoid attracting undue attention, she had cleverly disguised her flawless complexion with makeup and freckles, as well as controlling, to a necessary degree, the vibrant harmonies that radiate from her being. I had not previously met the brother who accompanied her, and who presently took a leaf of paper from my notebook on the table and drew the insignia that was designed upon his shirt and her blouse in a golden yellow hue. He asked if I could draw it, and I made a rough sketch which he said would do. However, he folded and slipped his copy into his trouser pockets. The insignia was the emblem of the planet Pluto, which is illustrated in this book for your scrutiny, along with the emblem of Jupiter. These cannot be considered exact duplicates, being more or less drawn from memory. The little Lady of Pluto quoted in cadent diction the following prayer to be given to my mate and her good friend, Mercedes Swift. However, it was about 2 weeks later before it became obvious that it was a quote. Mighty spirit of light that shines through the cosmos, draw my flame closer in harmony to thee. Lift up my fire from out of the darkness, magnet of fire that is one with the all. An active member of our study group obtained a copy of the Emerald Tablets of Troth, the Atlantean, published by the Brotherhood of the White Temple, Incorporated. Without having read it to herself, she handed it to me that I might do so. Before beginning the book, I flipped the pages, pausing to read aloud a passage here and there.